What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today I'm going to talk to you about Virgin Galactic. It's been a while since I've done a Virgin video, so I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what they're saying, what shorts have been up to, and aside from that, if right now is a good time to buy or not. Before I get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So starting off, Virgin did go up 1.67%. Very volatile day, but then again, that's kind of normal for Virgin because lower volume does incentivize a lot of manipulation, kind of back and forth quite a lot. So for instance, on Friday, 732,000 shares being traded, 1.6 million is the average. And just generally over this last little bit, you've seen kind of a surge of lower volume. So once again, that kind of incentivizes a little bit more manipulation. So I'm going to go over shorts and everything that you need to know. But last couple pieces of news were largely correlated with their earnings. And so their earnings, in case you do not know, it was phenomenal. A very good kind of move in the right direction. Highly anticipated, in fact. So earnings per share was a beat. Revenue was a very positive beat as well. And as a instant byproduct of this, analysts started to kind of change their future estimates, so be a little bit more optimistic on Virgin. Even though they didn't really give new full official rating changes, a lot of them have been changing their estimates behind the scenes. So which unfortunately a lot of which is not really publicized as much as it should. But for the upcoming November earnings, hasn't been slated yet, but you do have 5 positive and 1 negative revisions over the last 90 days. And like I said, a lot of that is linked to their recent earnings. Currently, $4.13 is that earnings per share, and 271.43 thousand is the revenue estimate. So like I said, I think that is generally good stuff, moving in the right direction. And I think the last time the market was optimistic about Virgin was Q3 2023. Aside from that, it's just been going down and down. As of late, though, it's somewhat stabilized. So I'm going to go over the Elliott Wave technicals in a second, but there is a lot of good data coming out this week that could really change the dynamic of Virgin. So for instance, you have employment and initial jobless claims coming out on Thursday. You have payroll coming out on Friday. A lot of consumer data. So especially based on what Powell recently said, a lot of this is going to be instantly correlated with rate cuts. And that is going to be that probably nice push to incentivize buying in Virgin. Because right now there is a good likelihood of a 25 basis point cut, but possibly dependent on the data for this week, you might see this aspect increase to the likelihood of a 50 basis point cut. So once again, that could really help Virgin kind of get attention from institutions, because as of late there hasn't been all that much. So over the last 90 days there's been no transactions on the secondary market above $100,000. So still, it's been overlooked, and I've been covering Virgin on and off for like 2 years, and this has been one thing that has always very much plagued it. It's just that clearly institutions do not see much upside. And the last time they were optimistic, like I said, was Q3 2023, but I think it's a different circumstance right now. But with positive data, and right now the fear and greed index under the greed category, then you could see just more people's appetite for risk increasing and willing to buy Virgin. These are some of the transactions though on the dark pool. So dark pool is often enough linked to shorting. So I'm going to go over that right now. So as of right now, 24.13% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 6.47 million shares. Friday, shorts did increase roughly around 7,000 shares, kind of a drop in the bucket. Utilization 80.86, and then short score is 76.71. Shorts have been really, well, as of late, really got out. But essentially, it did have a high of like 33.69%. Very crazy stuff, very high. But I think in general, Virgin has always been heavily shorted. Just they've always missed out on that squeeze aspect, because yeah, looking at a lot of the key data right here, it is good. And if you kind of hid like Virgin's logo and name, yeah, this could be a squeeze play. But the only thing that you need that is really missing is a surprise catalyst, and Virgin hasn't really done that. Like Q3 2023, obviously you did see that aspect, more of a squeeze momentarily because of that, a very positive upward, I think it was their revenue forecast. But yeah, I think in general, this is kind of the layout, and regrettably, without institutions really buying Virgin, it's kind of shorts because this 7,000 right here that I did mention is net. So they've been trading back and forth quite a lot with themselves, and yeah, it's hopefully Virgin does continue this positive momentum, and that way shorts can just naturally leave on their own accord, but we'll just have to wait and see, because as of late it did have a low of like 22%, but they are starting to get back in, so they're sensing a little bit of blood as of right now. So quickly moving over to IBKR, just to go over the Elliott Wave technicals, it does have a pivot point of $5.84. So for as long as Virgin is above that, which right now it is, then it is anticipated to have a nice recovery to that $9 range. So let me know your thoughts on that. And like I said, due to their actual recent earnings, you didn't really see that much recent ratings. So you had a lot of this like 24 days ago, but still nothing really crazy. You still had that $1 sell rating, so that's absolutely out of left field. Wells Fargo, Sarah, who has a 68% success rating. And then you have Oliver, 50% success rating, gave a 7. As a consensus though, $12.25 is anticipated. That does represent a 83.11% upside. Quickly going over here as well, this is a lot of the key data that maybe you might get some utility out of. On a side note, if you're wanting all this free information, take a look at IBKR in the description below. Just click on the link, and yeah, it's a lot of good information, ownership, analyst forecast, everything under the sun. So definitely take advantage of that. Quickly moving on to the options data. So options from Friday, let's talk on that. So 198,000 in calls, 106,000 in puts. 57% of all the options being done on Friday were bearish, more anticipating kind of downside. But of the call options that are being purchased, you do see a consensus for it to be above roughly around that $7 to $8 range. And then looking at the puts, you do see a consensus for it to be below $6.50. So in my opinion, interpreting that, I think there is a little bit more upside anticipated versus the down. And I think just generally, if you look at the chart, it has somewhat stabilized. So I think there is one of the rare opportunities in the last little bit that maybe Virgin might be on the verge of moving up from here. So quickly going over some support and resistance points just to take note of. Right now with it at $6.69, it is trading between this S1 and the pivot. So $6.39 is going to be the strong support, and then $7.37 is going to be the next strong resistance / target. Like I said, Virgin's been very volatile over this last little bit. This is why you do see very wide gaps in the fib levels. So basically just anticipate a continuation of kind of volatility. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on that aspect. But when it comes down to Virgin on the actual chart itself, even though it has consolidated from its around like 7-ish, 750-ish highs from the 26th, it is still pointing to kind of higher highs, because essentially you do see it's still higher percentile of the boiling band. Stochastic, you do see it kind of reset, so it went from very overbought to now neutral. You do see at the same time a bearish deviation, but number of retail investors are getting in. So I think the technicals are looking, based on the Elliott Wave technicals that I just pointed out, are looking very optimistic. Shorts though seem to be that kryptonite in Virgin's success, because they do make up, like I said, a good chunk of the daily volume. And if you're not really giving shorts a reason to close out some shares, they're just going to linger around and constantly add kind of strategic selling pressure. So I do feel right now Virgin is one of those stocks that you need to add to your watch list. It might, like I said, a lot of volatility, so you could always get a good deal if that kind of makes sense. And I think based on their recent earnings, it is fair to kind of be somewhat optimistic on the fundamental operations in the foreseeable future as well. So that's just my quick take on Virgin. I'm not a financial advisor, so you guys do whatever the hell floats your boat. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And make sure you guys definitely take advantage of this promo as well. Simply sign up for a new account, throw $100 at it. They give you 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. So this is a kick-ass deal. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.